Okay, so you're an expat living in the UAE, and chances are, you've probably thought about, your bank account situation.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, it can be a real headache trying to figure out all the fees and, minimum balances and all that jazz.
Yeah, it's one of those essential things you got to sort out when you're settling in, making sure you're not losing money unnecessarily to bank charges.
Exactly. And that's exactly what we're diving into today. For this deep dive, we've been checking out some really useful info. Actually stumbled upon a YouTube video by this guy, Nick the Real Loan. Have you heard of him?
Yeah, I've seen a few of his videos. Pretty informative stuff.
Yeah, he seems to know his stuff. So anyway, He did this video on the top 5 bank accounts for expats in the UAE for 2025. And we thought, let's break it down for our listeners, make it super easy to digest,
Cut the noise, get to the good stuff.
Exactly. So we're mainly focusing on, how accessible these accounts are and obviously how to avoid those pesky fees, keep costs down as much as possible.
Music to everyone's ears.
Right. So we're going to walk you through each of these top 5 accounts, point out what makes them stand out, for different situations so you can quickly figure out which one might be your best bet.
Sounds good.
Now, the video goes into, accounts that work for different salary levels, how easy it is to open them online, and all those features that really matter for your, day-to-day banking.
The practical stuff.
Exactly. So let's jump right in, shall we? Number 5 on Nick's list is First Abu Dhabi Bank, FAB.
Oh, yeah, FAB, big name. Pretty popular with expats.
They seem to be doing a lot to, cater to the expat community.
For sure.
And the account they highlight in the video is the FAB IVE account. And the big selling point here is that it's a zero balance account.
Always a good start.
Right, but there's a catch.
Yeah.
Of course, you have to have your salary transferred into this account to keep that zero balance benefit.
The classic trade-off.
Exactly.
I mean, it makes sense from the bank's perspective, right? They're getting a consistent flow of funds so they can afford to waive the minimum balance.
Yeah, it's a common thing with these zero balance accounts, but, it's worth thinking about. It does tie your main banking to your job.
Yeah, that's a good point. Something to consider, for sure.
Now, the video also mentions a minimum salary requirement for this FAB IVE account. It's 3,000 AED.
Okay.
And they compare it to ADIB, another bank where you might need a higher minimum salary, like 5,000 AED for a similar account.
Interesting. So if you're earning between 3,000 and 5,000 FAB, might be easier to get.
Yeah, exactly. It's good to know those thresholds, right? Especially if you're just starting out or, in a certain industry.
Definitely those salary requirements can be a real barrier.
Okay. And in terms of actually opening the account with FAB, it sounds pretty straightforward.
Oh, good.
The video says you can do it all online in minutes and then manage everything through their mobile app.
That's the way it should be these days, right? Everything at your fingertips.
Right. It's so convenient to have all your transactions and payments and everything just, on your phone.
Yeah, the UAE especially. It's almost like you need a good mobile banking app to, function properly.
Seriously, it's become so essential. And another good thing the video pointed out is that FAB has a huge network of ATMs all over the UAE.
Oh, that's always handy.
Yeah, even though everything's going digital, it's good to know you can easily get cash if you need it.
Definitely peace of mind.
So yeah, that's the FAB IVE account in a nutshell. Let's move on to number 4 on Nick's list, and that is Abu Dhabi Commercial Bank, or ADCB.
Oh, yeah. ADCB, another big one.
Yeah.
Very well established.
Yeah, they're a major player, and the video highlights their ADCB haak account. This one's also a zero balance account, but they say it's a particularly good option for expats who maybe aren't earning as much.
Okay, so focusing on affordability.
Yeah, and this is where things get interesting. The video mentions that they recently changed their fee structure for the haak account.
What do you mean?
So if you go below the minimum balance, they now charge 15.75 AED, which is actually less than some other banks like FAD or ADEB.
How much do those charge?
They said something like 25 AED or even more.
Oh, wow. So that could really make a difference over time.
Exactly, especially if you sometimes, dip below that minimum.
Yeah, it's like having a bit of a safety net.
Right now, to avoid any fees at all with the ADCB haak account, you do have to maintain a minimum balance of 3,000 AED.
Okay, same as the FAB one.
Yeah, but that lower fee, if you go below the minimum, might make it more appealing for some people. It depends on your situation.
It's a balancing act, right? The minimum versus the cost of going below it.
Exactly. You got to figure out what works for your spending habits.
If you know you're going to dip below sometimes, then that lower fee could be a real lifesaver.
Exactly. Now, just like FAB, ADCB has made opening an account super easy. You can do it instantly online through their app, and they even deliver your debit card within 2 days.
Wow, that's fast.
Right. Super convenient, especially when you're new to the country and need to get things sorted quickly.
It's one less thing to worry about.
And of course, they have all the standard features, online transfers, a secure mobile banking app, all that good stuff.
Sounds pretty comprehensive.
Okay, let's move on to number 3, and this is Mashreq Neo, which is the digital banking arm of Mashreq Bank.
Ah, Mashreq, one of the oldest banks in the UAE. Right, they've been around forever.
Yeah, they're really stepping up their digital game with Mashreq Neo.
It's interesting to see how these traditional banks are adapting, you know?
Absolutely, and the account they focus on in the video is the Al Islami account. They say it's got some great benefits for expats.
Okay, I'm curious what those are.
Well, first of all, it's a zero minimum balance account, no minimums at all.
That's always good to hear.
And then they say it's completely paperless banking, everything's digital.
Save the trees.
Exactly. And here's a big one. Free international transfers to certain regions.
Oh, wow. That's a huge plus if you're sending money back home.
Right. It could save you a ton on those pesky transfer fees.
Yeah, definitely something to look into depending on where you're sending money.
Now, the video doesn't specify which regions are included, so you'd have to check if your home country is on their list.
Good point. It's always worth checking the details.
And like the other banks, Mashreq Neo also gives you a free debit card.
The essentials.
They also mention other services. They offer like loans and credit cards. So, it seems like a pretty full-fledged digital banking platform.
Yeah, sounds like they've got all the bases covered.
Okay, we're getting close to the top spot now. Number 2 on the list is Emirates NBD.
Ah, Emirates NBD, can't go wrong with them. Everyone uses them.
Yeah, they're super popular, and they've really been pushing their, tech-driven solutions.
They seem to be doing a lot of innovation.
Now, the video does mention their Live account briefly, which is a zero balance account specifically designed for, like modern banking on the go.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of that one.
But they say that for this comparison, they're focusing on the conventional Emirates NBD account.
Okay, sticking with the classic.
Yeah, if you're interested in the Live account, they actually encourage viewers to leave a comment on the video to find out more. But for our deep dive, let's stick to the conventional one.
Makes sense.
So the main thing about the conventional Emirates NBD account is that it does have a minimum balance requirement, unlike the Live account.
Okay, so how much is it?
It's 3,000 AED.
Okay, so same as FAB and ADCB.
Yeah, so the video basically positions this as a solid option if you're okay with maintaining that 3,000 AED in your account. Given that Emirates NBD has such a big branch network and offers so many services, it's definitely a popular choice for expats.
Yeah, it's that sense of security and reliability, right?
Exactly, and having those physical branches can be really important for some people, even with all the online options.
Yeah, some people still prefer to do things face to face.
Absolutely. Okay, drum roll, please. It's time for the number 1 bank account for UAE expats, according to this video.
I'm on the edge of my seat.
And it is Mbank, which is the digital bank from Al Bank.
Interesting. Okay. I'm not as familiar with this one.
They present it as the absolute best choice, especially for expats who maybe aren't earning a huge salary and are looking for a genuinely zero balance account with no minimum salary requirements at all.
Wow, no minimum salary. That's pretty rare.
Right. They really emphasize how accessible it is. You can use it even if your salary is only 1,000 AED.
That's a game changer for a lot of people.
Exactly. It opens up banking to so many more people, and setting up the account is super easy. It's all digital, and if you have UAE Pass, you can do it in minutes.
Wow, that's impressive.
Yeah, it's all about speed and convenience these days, and once you're set up, you manage everything through their app cards, transfers, the whole works.
Makes sense. Keep it all in one place.
Now, one thing the video does address is that Mbank doesn't have a massive ATM network of its own.
Ah, that could be a problem.
But they've come up with a clever solution. They've partnered with FAB, so you can deposit money into your Mbank account at any FAB deposit ATM for free.
Well, that's smart.
Yeah, leveraging that existing infrastructure. And they also say you can deposit money through exchange houses.
Okay, so they found ways around it.
Exactly. And another cool thing for expats, the video mentions that Mbank's digitally stamped statements are accepted internationally.
Well, that's handy, especially for visa applications and things like that.
Right. It can be a real lifesaver when you need to prove your residency.
Makes things so much smoother.
So there you have it, folks. The top 5 bank accounts for UAE expats in 2025, according to Nick the Real Loan. We've got FAB IVE with the salary transfer and 3,000 AED minimum salary, ADCB haak, great for lower incomes with that lower fee if you dip below the minimum. Mashreq Neo Al-Islami, true zero balance and potential free international transfers. Emirates NBD conventional account, solid option if you're good with the 3,000 AED minimum, and Mbank taking the top spot, completely zero balance, no minimum salary, and easy deposit options.
Wow, that's quite a spread, a lot to choose from.
Right. It really shows how the UAE working scene is changing and becoming more competitive and really trying to attract expats.
Definitely good news for consumers.
Yeah.
More options, more flexibility.
So for our listeners out there who are maybe looking for a new bank account or thinking about switching, you've got some great options to consider.
Yeah, it's all about figuring out, what's important to you, what features you need.
Exactly. Whether it's the zero balance, the low fees, the digital stuff, or having physical branches.
So thinking about it now, which of these features really jumps out at you? As an expat living in the UAE, is it the zero balance, the low fees, the free transfers, or maybe that super easy digital account opening?
Yeah, and beyond those basic things, what else matters to you when choosing a bank? Is it customer service? Having specific products like loans or mortgages, or maybe just how user-friendly their app is?
Lots to think about,
We
right? It's not just about the numbers. There's the whole experience to consider.
Exactly. What are your priorities when it comes to banking? Food for thought.
Definitely.
All right, thanks for joining us on this deep dive into UAE bank accounts. We'll catch you next time.
See you then.